All right, ladies and fellas, we are back for part 2 of our pouch weaving tutorial. And what we're going to do this time is we're actually going to warp the loom. And what I mean by warp is the lines that run vertically inside of your weaving are warp strings. So if I get this pouch back out, if I were to pull apart the weaving, you can see black thread inside there. That is my warp string. Those are my warp strings. That is what holds my weaving together so that all of my work doesn't fall apart. Okay, so they're inside there just like they will be inside your weaving. They hold this string in place, the string that we see. So the color of your warp thread doesn't really matter because it's going to be concealed by the string or yarn or whatever it is that you use to weave on top of that. What is important about your warp thread is that you get a type of thread that doesn't stretch. So like if I pull really hard against this isn't going to stretch because this is a cotton thread. This is a bit thicker than what I would use for warp string, but I don't have any of the warp string here with me today, like this stuff that I sent home with you guys. This is the black warp string that I sent home with you. It comes in other colors too, but we just happen to have black. So yarn that you would weave with sometimes can be kind of stretchy. So you don't want to use that kind of yarn to warp your strings with. This one is like really stretchy, okay? This is like our standard regular yarn that we use for weaving projects. But this is a cotton yarn that I just happen to have at home. And I know it won't stretch. There are other things that you could use. You could use twine. You could use dental floss maybe. Not that I recommend you go use up 22 feet of dental floss, because on an average loom that's about 9 inches long by about 14 or 15 cuts wide, it's roughly 22 feet. That's what I sent home with you guys, was about 22 feet of that black warp thread. And if yours wasn't bundled, an easy way to bundle your warp threads, if I sent yours home and it looked kind of like this, okay, to you, what you can do is get a piece of scrap cardboard or something else. Let me just grab, I've got a little scrap piece right here. You can take the end of your warp thread, the black warp thread that I sent home with you, and just carefully wrap it around a piece of scrap cardboard somewhere to get it off of your loom, and so it doesn't get knotted up. Okay, and then that way, it's easier to work with here in just a minute. So what you're going to do is, so we're all going to pretend this is my black warp thread, like what you guys have at home. You want to leave a little bit of a tail, okay, about, I don't know, 4 fingers width there-ish. And I'm going to pop it into the first cut that I made right here, okay? And I want to pull it down until it's like right at the bottom between your teeth. I'm going to call these teeth because it just makes sense. It's kind of like we're flossing our teeth or whatever. But it's going to go in between this first tooth and that second tooth. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over to the back, and I'm going to lay that tail nice and flat. And then I'm going to take a piece of packaging tape or masking tape, whatever kind of tape you have at home. I just happen to have some painter's tape, so I'm going to use that. If all you have is Scotch tape, like what you would wrap a gift with, then you might want to put like a couple of pieces on there like this, because that Scotch tape probably won't hold as long or as strong as you need it to. So I'm pretending I've got Scotch tape here, and I'm just going to put like 3 pieces on there because I don't want this string to accidentally slip out from underneath my tape until I'm ready for it to do that. So okay, so we've got that tape to the back. So I'm going to turn back over here to the front. And so I've got teeth at the top, and I have teeth at the bottom here, okay? And so my string is between tooth number 1 and tooth number 2, and I'm going to bring it down to this one, okay, between the first and second tooth, and I want to pull that string into place. Now notice that my cardboard is still staying flat, okay? Don't pull your string so tight that it does this, okay? But don't pull your warp string so loose that it kind of flops around, okay? You want it to be snug, but you don't want it to be pulling, okay? So I'm going to pull that into place like that. And then, so this is where we started, okay? That's where I put it in. So it's in between the first and second tooth. And then I came down here, popped it in between the first and second tooth. Let me get myself some extra yarn off this spool here. What you don't want to do is just wrap this around like this, okay, into the teeth. If you have string on both sides of your loom, then you have warped your loom incorrectly. It would not be correct. It is wrong, okay? So here's my starting point, okay? Here is the second step, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this string that's hanging out of the back, and I'm just going to loop it around, and I'm going to slip it between tooth number 2 and 3 like that. Okay, I just went between 1 and 2, and then I came straight back out between 2 and 3. So then I'm going to bring it down here to the bottom, and I'm going to pull it snug, but not too snug, and I'm going to pop that between tooth number 2 and 3 like that, and I'm going to wrap it around tooth number 3 so that I come straight back out between 3 and 4. Now, right now I've got this little bit of a bubble on the back. I don't know if you guys can see that bubble or not. There you go. You want to pull it tight enough so that there's no bubble there, because that will affect your weaving when you start to get close to being finished. If there's like loose threads back here wrapping around your teeth, that warp thread's going to pull through to the front, and it's going to leave these weird puckers at the top of your pouch weaving, and you're just not going to be happy. So you're just going to come down here from where you were straight to the other end. Going to pop that string into place between the next set of cuts, and then just wrap it around straight back out the next cut there, the next tooth. Let me turn my light back on here so you can see. So this is what the back is looking like so far. I've got string wrapped around those 2 teeth. I've got a starting point. I've got string wrapped around these 2 teeth. There are no vertical strings on the back of my cardboard. This is the back, okay? So, should have thought that one through. Okay, so I'm just going to keep doing that. I just came out from this end, so I'm going to go down to this end. I'm going to pull that warp string you guys are using the black string, I'm going to pull it really snug, but not bowing it. And what I do is I kind of hold my cardboard and I flex it backwards a little bit like this. I flex it towards its like the back. That way, if I pull this too tight, when I release my cardboard, it allows that string to relax just a little bit. It's just a thing I do. I don't know. You may not. You may have good luck just doing it like this. So I just popped it into there. I'm going to wrap around from cut number 4 to cut number, no, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, from cut number 4 to cut number 5. I'm going to come straight down to this end. And I'm going to wrap it. I'm going to go through and wrap it around that next tooth like that. Go back up here to this end. My cat is trying to help me. No. There we go. I'm going to wrap it around the back, straight through to the front. See? And check, make sure there's no bubble there. So I'm going to come back down to this end. Smudge, give me my string. There we go. I'm going to pop it into that end. Just going to go wrap it right around that tooth, straight back out, and check, make sure it's not bubbling or puckering or anything like that. Go straight up to this end. Pop it into that cut. Come straight out the next one. Then come back down here to the bottom, straight into that cut. Come straight out the next one. Okay. And then up here, my last cut. And this is what the front should look like. This is what the back should look like. Now, if you end up with 2 strings at the top like this, it's fine. If you end up with 1 string at the top, but your other string is like down here, that's fine. It's probably because you have an odd number of cuts. You might have 11, 13, 15, whatever number of cuts. I happen to have 10 and 10. 10's an even number. So both of my strings are going to like start and finish on the same end. It's okay. It doesn't matter. Okay. If yours starts on one end of your loom and finishes on the other end, it's fine. It's going to be fine. Okay. So again, I want to cut a little bit of a tail here, and I will tape that into place. Okay. So this is what the front should look like. This is what the back should look like. Let me put some tape down on there. Let's say the back of your loom does not look like the back of my loom right now. Okay. Let's say you have a couple of strings running down the back side. Okay. And this is what the front looks like, but you have a couple of strings running down the back. If you have a couple of strings running down the back, you have to unweave until you get to where those 2 strings are. And then you have to just flip it back and then continue doing it, you know, around and then down, around and then back up, around and then down, around and back up, without looping it round and round, okay? Because you don't want any of these warp strings to be on this side, because the next step in the loom process is to fold the loom in half. And if you have strings on the inside, there's no way for you to weave on those strings, because it's going to be a closed container here in just a second. So let me get myself adjusted here. If yours looks like mine, you've got your warp strings on the front and all you have are your 2 tape strings on the back. What you're going to do now is you're going to take and you're going to fold this in half. Okay, you're going to line up your teeth and hopefully the sides line up. and then you're just going to press this right here. Okay, so now you have strings there, you have strings there, there should be nothing on the inside. Okay, with your tape, your packaging tape, hopefully, you know, masking tape, if all you have is tape that you would use to wrap a present, you might want to put a couple of layers on, but all I have is painter's tape, like I said, so I'm going to use this painter's tape, and I am going to put the tape as close to those strings as I can without putting the tape on the strings. Okay, I'm going to say that again. I put the tape as close to the strings as I could without having the tape actually touching the strings. What it's going to do, it's just going to hold the teeth shut so that these can't slip off while I'm weaving. Okay, that's the purpose of the tape. And also just to keep it closed for you because it's much easier. So then I'm just going to turn it over, and if you have extra tape, you can do like what I'm doing here. I'm going to bring it as close to the tops of these warp strings as I can. And I'm going to bring this over as close to the top as I can. Okay. Because this is painter's tape, I've never done this with painter's tape, so I don't know exactly how strong it's going to be. So what I would do, or if you're using tape that you're wrapping a present with or something like that, I would probably put a second piece on that wraps around the corner edges. Okay. I have one ready to go that has regular packaging tape. This is like regular, that brown packaging tape, masking tape. That's what we would use in class for these, and I just like it because it, I don't know, kind of holds a little better than regular old tape. You could use duct tape for this, but if you plan to reuse your loom at some point, the duct tape, eventually we take the tape off, and if you use duct tape, it could tear your teeth. And then that means you have to make a whole new loom. Like if you wanted to reuse your cardboard loom again, if you wanted to do something else or different colors or whatever, but you wanted the same size pouch. If you use duct tape, it could tear those teeth. So you gotta be careful with that. But here's that finished, okay? And then what I would do, so now, I mean, I could open it up and look inside, but there's no point. You don't have to look inside right now. I would write the word front, okay, and then turn it over right back, because front and back are going to be important in the next video that we do, and that is how to actually begin the weaving process. So to actually begin the weaving process, you're going to need a needle like what I sent home with you 5th graders, or if you're an older 5th grader, 6th, 7th, 8th grader, whatever, that is that has found out about these videos. If you still have that needle, that would be amazing and awesome, but if not, we'll talk about other things you can use to weave with that you might have at home. But you'll need this, you'll need your loom, and then you're going to need yarn, whatever yarn or string or thread that you are going to create your actual pouch with. So you'll need that for the next step for this next video. So until then, I will see you at the next video, video number 3. Thank you guys.